So the funny thing about this is that um, you got guys like Super Sly 75 who avoided who avoided a situation with, he always avoids the marriage situation that goes on here. Um, who came up with that? Here we go. This is what Zero said to guys like Super Sly, who they come into male space as single and they try to act like they know it all. Let's hear this.
Approach, 1,000 bitches. These guys, he told me that all I have to do is confidence. Approach, 1,000 bitches a day. Friend game, neg game. These niggas, they went straight to the fucking coaches. And now they pretending like they knew and just finding out how shit goes. Figuring it out. You're not figuring shit out. You young niggas been here the whole time. You already know who but you know what? I get it. The hormones is raging. You trying to find a way to get past the reality of the situation. Completely understand that. So just say that. But don't lie to yourself. It's fucking same. You know? I mean, dating coaches, relationship hustlers, and now it's all reaction comment niggas. And they all offer a glimmer of hope bias. So now, now that these young niggas then went from being in the chat viewing to creating, their view of the whole situation is extremely skewed by their childhood visions of being better at red pill. But somehow, at the same time, they realize that the jig is up and that the black pill people are actually not the nihilists. And then at the same time, they realize in trying to reconcile the internal conflict of that they actually are or might be the nihilists, especially when you consider that reconciliation of that means that they have to give up and negotiate a losing position in a relationship where you have nearly no fucking power other than to leave, which is not a feasible option because the whole issue revolves around getting with the opposite sex in the first fucking place. You know? And even I can share some of this blame where mistakes I made in life contributed to the problem at large. However, I'm honest enough to disclose my awareness of my mistakes. And at the same time, I can face a societal issue with objectionable brutality. I don't claim to be him or that nigga or Neo. That's you niggas. That's you niggas. Hit the gym, bro. And this is where a lot of the problem with the conversation moving forward lies at. This is, for example, you look at the conversation and what you see of men positioning themselves. They always position themselves above the social issues that they speak about, right? Again, like I described above, I know how you guys feel. You guys, those dudes, these dudes. Not me, y'all. That's a lot of that right there, right? Especially when they start making money on their channels, then it's really y'all niggas. Y'all niggas doing, not me. Also, the way men juxtapose the hierarchy of attractiveness between genetic quality and money. The way we do that. Why the fuck do we do that? The way we juxtapose the physicality of protection and provision as a necessary dominant attractor. And then at the same time, we understand that economic modernity eliminated the need for that equality or that quality. Not to mention guns. Nobody needs muscles. Guns exist, nigga. You think white people took over the world wrestling? Insane. Also, the way we use comically novel aspects of masculinity as attractors, which are typically genetically adjacent. Like, again, go to the gym, bruv. That's the most obvious. Then status, then money. We try to avoid genetics at all times. And then the unspoken side of this rhetoric is the fact that these qualities like hit the gym, bruv, status, and money that are being extolled are hilariously superseded by genetic quality. Hilariously. And we pretend that it's not so. Even though we also say shit like homeless baby maker or Madden Kings. Insane. We talk about male production as an attractor, and at the same time, we see social indicators in real life of male attractiveness being realized in women who fathers their bastards over and over and over again. You know the stats. You know, most black men are childless. Hell, most men are childless. There's only a subsection of men that have all the kids with all the bitches. We understand that. And then at the same time, we talk about this production and women attracted to money, status, and production. Shut the fuck up. Pick a struggle. You know? And again, now these young niggas that grew up on the dating coaches and other masculinity hustlers, you know, even the people who wasn't in the masculinity hustle were still adjacent to it. You know, again, and these are the people I was describing earlier, the people who try to act like they unaffected by the issue while at the same time describing its effect on their life. Insane. Fucking insane. And then we got and then let's add to that. Then we get the in a relationship or married grift niggas who.
There we go, Super Sly, and all these other guys who are in a relationship. You know, the niggas, the Georgia boy, the GA boys, in talk about I'm married, man. Remember a few years ago they was talking about the Mary Spear. Your boy Super Sly didn't want to bring his wife on camera because everybody was gonna roast her. Then he brought his daughter, his biological daughter, on, and he didn't want that smoke. And then he had a what is another daughter? What was it? It was a stepdaughter, and he interviewed her and he took that shit down. He didn't want people to take apart the bullshit that he was saying online, so he took half of those videos down. And people try to grab those videos, including me, and he took the video down.
For the most part, they're not even in it for the money. They just more so in it for the evangelism of the sunken cost fallacy of the decision. Like, the result of it in the current life, being in that relationship, they have lots of incentives to run over here and gloat or chastise or troll, right? On the face of it, it would seem that these people are the more reasonable of all, right? Since, after all, they holy grailed it, right? They got the holy grail. They got the relationship and shit, or the marriage. So, but in actuality, these people were probably the most destructive because they had the caveat of seemingly being the people who got it right. Even though, as evidenced by many of these niggas having the curtains pulled back on their relationships, they typically don't live that life that they have ideals on in a spouse. And they also berate others, for not achieving. All these niggas over the years, every time you see their relationships get pulled out in public, it's not what you thought it was, is it? And see, in previous years, they had the benefit of not having their family life pulled into the conversation. The conversation at large. They hop on panels to defend their perspective in a space where it's not needed, first of all. But, once the world-burning misanthropes pulled up, i.e. the new generation, all bets were off. You use your family as a whipping stick to chastise people? To say they not doing it right? Well, now your family fair game, nigga. Now they get criticized. Now they on your ass.
Yup. That happened to Akash. That happened to Piers Morgan. I mean, he seemed like he got a Akash situation. That happened to multiple guys on here who's telling about how they married and this and then their wife and their girlfriend and all that. And then we found out it wasn't like what they said.
And that was the thing that removed that influence. And that should have been done years ago. Because the thing is, these niggas are dangerous because unlike having a monetary incentive, they do it because they're on a mission that they think is of higher responsibility, or they act like they performing a service based on some overplayed poker hand that's their fucking relationship. And then the other pimple on the nose is the the clout chase. You know, all these fucking turbo goofs decided that the conversation needed the novelty of the attempt to become a personality nigga. The content creator that's on cam. All of this is based around you niggas not having enough education on this social issue to present any arguments that can be described in a converse manner that would actually be beneficial to your viewership. None of you niggas have, and again, you don't have to have a diploma for credibility, but you niggas don't have credibility just based on the merit of being able to understand what it is you're speaking about, outside of your fucking gut feeling, you know, and your attempt to constantly have entertainment value. You know, and most of you niggas focus on the entertainment value. Hence, again, like I said, the cam up niggas. Speaking of, I used to bite my tongue about that shit because I'm physically anonymous, a voice in the void. And I do that because the incendiary nature of my conversation and the conversation at large and the unreasonable and over-prosecuted consequences of having an opinion contrary to that public mainstream, coddling, hopeful, false positivity, LinkedIn type behavior shit that you niggas seem to enforce via doxing and protestation and removal of your livelihood, which then leads to a situation where the most...
See, and that's the thing, right? I remember when I was on Facebook and I told the truth on a video. Next minute I know, I went viral on MTO, Media Takeout Network, when it was still a thing, I think. Media Takeout Network, yeah. And I had E follow me, all these different small-time celebrities. Pipes was following me. I showed the people who was following me. And then I had all of these things when I was talking about overweight women and certain women and stuff. Next minute I know, I got all these chicks in my inbox giving me death threats.
We're the only people who can talk are the crash out niggas. Niggas with nothing to lose. And you like it that way. Because you get to control them. If you don't like something they like, if you don't like something they said, you get to change their perspective by affecting their money. That's you goofy ass niggas. Because you want to be soft, handheld and coddled into your fucking graves. Insane. And nobody's saying anything that means anything. You know, it leads to a situation where people are just being incendiary just to be incendiary. And only in the context of having an audience willing to fund that. Like I said, they own you now. You know? It's just for the sake of it.
So we had a situation that happened here with this situation of a guy who had a one-night stand, and this fake female rapper ended up falsely accusing him. Did y'all remember the what was her name? Or Dash Girl?
Loud and clear from the Alpha. The world didn't feel dangerous. The world didn't feel lived in.
We've brought important parts here. All right. So just a refresher for y'all that don't remember the DoorDash girl.
Why am I getting fired? Why are my...
Now, you're seeing the uptick of women now throwing allegations left and right on people, right? Now, from what I'm seeing, a lot of these allegations are actually being disproven ultra fast, to the point where it's like, whoa, I didn't know that they was gonna do that quickly, right? So you kind of see it now. Then you didn't see it later on. You didn't see it beforehand. Now you see it now, right? So, but you see an uptick of a lot of these girls lying. DoorDash girl was just one of them. And it instant situation that happened where she's pretty much, I don't think she's going to go to jail, but basically from her doing what she did on here, and we're going to watch it.
Video is getting taken down, and why am I getting strikes? Like, I'm about to lose my account. I was assaulted. I'm the victim. I lost my job. I'm the victim.
This TikToker recently went viral for posting a video of a DoorDash customer of hers who was asleep on his couch in his living room, naked from the waist down. And after going viral, she decided to go to the police about the incident, saying the customer sexually assaulted her, even though he was asleep the entire time that she was at his property. Since then, TikTok took down the video and all replacements that she tried to upload. DoorDash fired her as one of their gig workers, and she was arrested for 2 felonies: unlawful surveillance of another person and dissemination of said unlawful surveillance. And now, on December 4th, 2025, she made her first court appearance for her arraignment. And despite the fact that she self-snitched all over the place in her various TikTok videos about this whole incident, at this arraignment, she pled not guilty. And from what it looks like, the only real defense that she has is by continuing to double down on this idea that she's a victim of sexual assault. We'll talk about why that is, and we'll talk convicted and end up with a worse some of the charges. The prosecution has
Guilty, and even more guilty.
all of this. Element 1 is easily met. We know that Henderson recorded the DoorDash customer because that's what went viral on TikTok after all. We also know...
And this is the thing about what's going over here. So we're not going to sit back and act like this is paradise. Even your boy Super Sly even admitted it in one of his live streams, how bad it is, but he wants men to still keep going on dealing with this bullshit, right? And people kind of looked at him and checked him in there, and I think he kicked the dude out, right? So this is just one case.
It was an intentional recording. It's not like she happened to be vlogging her work or something and a naked man walked into the frame behind her and she didn't intend to record him. She saw him there on the couch and decided to take her phone out and record him.
That's fucked up.
Second, we also know that the recording included an image of him naked from the waist down. I'm not showing that part of her original video for obvious reasons, but it is out there on the internet. And not only that, but Henderson also told TikTok that she showed the video she took to the police after she finally reported it, and she also emailed it to them after that.
And they sent...
So basically, she was out here self-snitching. She done gave the evidence, the smoking gun, over to law enforcement. Here's me committing a crime, officers. Here it is. Oh my God.
a police officer over to speak to me in person and watch the video that I have. And then he asked me to email it to him, and he asked me if I want to press charges, like what do I want to come from this? And I said...
So they have the video sent directly from her, which means that it's going to be impossible for her to fight these first two elements. Anyway, then there's a part about the man's reasonable expectation of privacy. Now, for one thing, Henderson acknowledged again to TikTok that there are issues of privacy here. In fact, she said that the reason that she hesitated to call the police was precisely because he was in his own home.
But I didn't report this to the police last night because I wasn't sure of DoorDash's process for like SA or if this was even reportable to the police.
Now, there's a former porn star, Jenna Hayes, got mad because her boyfriend didn't want her no more, so she tried to self-delete herself. So for people to pretend that it's paradise over here, it's kind of redundant. So you kind of understand why there's men out here that want to go and travel and go somewhere else. But at the same time, guys like Floyd shouldn't be one of them. You got a situation where this happened, and mind you, you got another grifter who had a video about Floyd right here, and then another video, Antoine Daniels, whatever his name is, that dude, and then he said, what Pookies are doing to Black American is plain evil. You can't talk shit about Passport Bros and then sit here and try to act like you for black people, right? So we deal with that type of shit here. So let's see the kind of stuff that everybody's right there, right? Remember her.
I deserve to have a traditional wife. They want to go be a...
Remember her? Remember her a couple years ago when your boy LTG had a stream with her? Remember her? Remember her? Yeah, and she bowed out because basically her views went down. Taya TKO, you know, she comes out her little pit, right? And all the views, like her views, her views are shit when it comes down to other shit. But when she talks about, you know, Passport Bros and this and this and that, now we're going to see the comment sections. Who cares? So you see her chat, a bunch of vile people who they don't want you to go nowhere. They want you to be a human target practice, and so they can laugh at you and feel good about themselves, right? So you see she's milking it, monetizing it. Super Sly trying to monetize it. This also is what's going on over here.
Come here. Cream. Stop. I'm yours. You can me right. You can me right now.
Crowds, one trying to escape his past, the other weaponizing her present. Bert tried to end things, Clark didn't let go. The problems escalated.
The very first time that I tried to break it up with old girl, and it's just like, you know, a few months in, I try to break it off with her, and I'm like, look, I think I'm gonna try to make my relationship work. Okay. You know, and she just crying, and she like, hey, you could have both of us, you know.
See, this is the kind of shit that goes on over here. Women are abusing their authority, and they end up shooting a guy. Right? Let's listen to this story a little bit more.
She like, I just want to be the lead. Correct. I'm like, nah, man, this girl been together, you know, on and off 20 years. How you gonna take the lead? Okay. And so I tried to break it off with her that day, and she cried and cried and cried. And I got in my car and left, and I drove a few blocks away, and she followed me. You know, she got out the car crying, she's standing there, so. You know, that was the first time.
Arguments became confrontations. Confrontations became threats. And then one day, those threats became violence.
But we act like men don't get abused over here, right? And the Super Slides and the TKOs and all these women, they don't really care about this because they always said men are bad, men are bad, men are bad. But this is the kind of shit that you get sick of when you're being over here in this country, because none of the bad shit that the women do ever come to light. Only what the men do.
The victim had become the defendant. Lambert was charged with crimes committed against him by her. He was convicted and sent to Georgia State Prison. The woman who shot him faced no charges. When police protect their own, where does justice go? Tell us in the comments. Lambert thought prison was his nightmare. He had no idea it was just rehearsal. After his release in 2022, Lambert tried to disappear. He changed his routine, took different routes, avoided places she might be. But Cheryl Clark had already found him. On January 30th, 2023, Lambert received a message. Meet me at the station parking lot. Here's what doesn't make sense. Why would Lambert agree? Why would a man who'd already been shot by this woman, who'd already served time because of her, who'd spent months carefully avoiding her, why would he walk into a police station parking lot to meet her? The answer to that question reveals something far worse.
And we got guys like this. If you look at Black America, it's an abuse-based culture where you can get the normalcy in Black culture is being abused, right? To be talked down to, laughed at, and be controlled, right? The people want to control your time, your money, your dick, and whatever they want to control because you're both Black, right? And they want to be able to do that to everybody else. Everybody else they think is controllable. So there's guys in this culture who thinks that they can deal with the most difficult woman possible and get out alive, get out short alive. This is one of them. Remember the guy who got stabbed up and killed by his OnlyFans girlfriend? By the way, I think she's going to... her trial is happening next year. That guy died because he thought his dick was big enough to calm her down. A lot of these niggas think that sex will heal all, right? Or their looks, or they that nigga. They the chosen one.
Than anyone imagined. But here's what the body camera captured that changes everything.
Stupid ass bitch. I tried to tell your fucking ass a long fucking time ago. Fucking. I tried to tell you.
Now, mind you, this idiot is beating her up, and he went to where she at, right? These are the guys who will come into the space and tell you to still go out and date, right?
Weapon, she says. She feared for her life. She had no...
So this dumb fucker decided that he wanted to wrestle a cop with a gun, go to the parking lot and try to be aggressive and powerful, and end up getting shot 8 times. These are the type of niggas who tell you that you're not supposed to go overseas, right? This is all me telling you. This is the type of shit they want us to deal with right here, right? Instead of going overseas, right? We're supposed to deal with their bullshit females and the chaos and shit. Because if there were good people, especially the good so-called good women, whatever you want to call them, then people would have already found them. Good people shouldn't be hard to find. They should just be hard to get to. Right? Because it should be a hard vetting process to get to these people.
Procedure. No exceptions. Agent Sarah Mills arrives at the scene to lead the forensic team. Within hours, her team notices something. The evidence doesn't align with the official story. Ballistics tells a clear narrative. 3 shell casings, 3 bullets. The pattern of fire reveals Lambert's position at each shot. Then came the decision that shocked even seasoned investigators. March 2024, 14 months after the shooting. MARTA finally terminates Cheryl Clark. The official reason, violation of department policy. When reporters ask which policy, officials refuse to specify. The details remain internal. Lambert's reality is different. He makes bond. $250,000. His legal fees exceed $30,000. His left arm will never fully function again. The pain is constant. His trial date is pending. He waits for his day in court. The man who was shot 3 times by a police officer now faces decades in prison for the encounter. Does the badge grant immunity? Have you seen this in your community? In a recorded interview, Cleve Lambert sits in front of a camera and tells his story in his own words. This is how I went to prison the first time, because of her. He describes the first shooting, the hospitalization, what came after. They kept moving me to cover up what their officer did. Lambert says,
I don't think she's ever been single since high school. You know, she go from relationship to relationship until she got...
Now, guys like this, guys who put themselves in certain positions, they try to jump to the red pill. They try to go overseas. And these are the guys who are fucking it up in the relationship shit. They fuck it up here, and then they go overseas. And then they do all that crazy shit, and then it get blamed on passport bros.
For soothing relief from sore noses and sneezes, trust Puffs Plus lotion this cold and flu season. America's #1 lotion tissue.
You know, America right now has a lot of crime, it has a lot of violence going on, so some of you brothers and sisters that do want to come out to Philippines, this could be a great place for you guys to come.
This is Saint, an American from Kansas that decided to leave everything in the U.S. to start a family.
Yeah, got a little place for the kid.
Now, this is me showing you the positive side of passport bros. Like, there's so many guys who left and they're not on the quote unquote mongering, and there's guys who actually left and travel who are paid for play, but they're not doing it on camera. They're not Floyds, they're not Austins, they're not this, but they don't want to show this. Not mind you, remember the old dude that talked about the Philippines? How has this guy got a success story in the Philippines, but the older guy don't have a success story in the Philippines? Now, we're going to see all the stories about Floyd. You know, we're going to see. And their perspective. And then we're going to show you all the people that hanged out with Floyd.
Can you look up the videos from if you go back in 2023? I think that's where he was doing his bulk of the Brazil travels. This trip, he didn't put out content on it, but 2023, he was asking for the donations. And there were donators back then who was donating because he was saying, hey, I'm only going to go to Brazil or Colombia if you guys fund this trip. And let's just say somebody back then donated. Can that person be held reliable for the situation?
Not that time, but whoever donated for this trip. And also for that time, if he say he did that video in Colombia, and there's, you know, this thing is going to spread beyond Brazil. Because this guy was in multiple countries. So all countries are going to look into whatever they find on that drive, it's not only going to be Brazilian women. You see all those phones and all those drives? It's a lot of data on those things. That data is going to be shared with the countries of concern. They will have their own charges too. And if any of those guys, to answer your question, if any of those guys funded any of this, they can be prosecuted even right here in the U.S.
Well, save it, Aldi, and save the holiday spirit.
That you're seeing. They could be maybe 21, but they're still little girls, bro.
Oh, that
Look
one
at
right.
him here.
That one right there that says "cooking with Alexa."
Alexa, that's
Alexa.
a little. This is a little baby, bro.
Yo, those are little. Dang, how
That's
do
a
we
little
miss
baby.
the signs? He's using.
And I'm gonna put a link in like. Let me see over here. Let me move the chat.
Record if he can to get some easy money, and he has his friend across the street recording everything. Then he has a microphone on him, and so you say he has a record, yeah, but is it really a record? He's really doing civil rights type things, so it's not a real record, and it's kind of misleading when they say that. When they say that he has a record, he's challenging the police. Yeah, he's challenging the police because he's trying to get paid. So. And then you go overseas. He gets arrested, but then he wins the case. So it doesn't, getting a visa and going to these countries is not that, they basically, it's not his fault.
They're videotaping their activities and putting it online. All this self-snitching. You got dudes in these rooms talking about, hey man, brother, you want to subscribe to my OnlyFans page? I'm down there in DR and I'm busting them down left and right. I'm in Brazil and I'm...
Now, mind you, there's a lot of guys that are traveling. A lot of white boys that are traveling. They got OnlyFans, and there's established OnlyFans dudes who only go do content overseas. And some of them actually got a following on Pornhub and everything else. They pay prostitutes and they fuck them. And there used to be series of guys going overseas to Thailand and Africa, even some in Cuba. So it's nothing new. It's just when black guys do it, they don't know how to do it in the right manner.
Busting them down left and right, and they're recording people, putting their faces out there. Damn well this stuff was IP. I heard about this a long time ago. Some of my boys that live down there in Colombia, and they are Colombians, not some Colombians from America, real Colombians. They tell me right off the bat, like they can see when these passport bros are coming down the street. Like they notice people already. You can't really fit in. They can tell you're an American. They can tell you're an outsider. So this thing was bound to happen. It was bound to happen, and I smelt it a long time ago that these people were going to ruin the movement anyway. You understand what I'm saying, IP? But hey, man, I wish everybody the best, bro.
Damn. Shout out Jay. Welcome back, Jay Bones. But
I just want to make sure we're, and I'm choosing my words very carefully here because I don't want to make any false allegations here, but it just sounds to me like, some of us might be trying to play like we're Floyd's lawyer here. I just want to make sure we're not doing that. Because that I'll just be honest with you. This is not over. This is only the beginning. So you want to kind of check your,
What's up, guys?
And it is what it is. So the authorities in Medellin typically get a lot of attention in the United States is now able to get on a date. I guess it was probably so hard for this dude to get on just a date in the United States that, going out with this girl here, which to me is like, I don't want to say she's ugly or nothing, like, because I don't even know her at all, like, but she doesn't seem like the top tier of what you can get in Colombia. Let's just say that.
Hi, amiga. ¿Cómo está?
Hi.
What's your name?
Ale.
Like,
Great.
Now I'm stuck to the counter with sticky honey. Ooh, Viva wipes it from her paws like it was never there. That's what I'm talking about. So soft and...
Hang out with them. He always looked like he was in the sunken place to me. Yeah, bro. He came off as weird to me. I mean, I'm just now exploring his content for the first time. And like I said, unfortunately, I was surprised to see, because I don't really remember this era of like Austin. I don't really remember this era of like Austin hanging out with him that much. I don't know. I guess I wasn't watching Austin's channel at that time like that. But like, yeah, like one other video that was like really cringy to me was this one right here. Let me see. Remove this, add this. This video was like crazy, bro.
Brendan B with the $2.
Let me say something real quick. The title is Why I Hate Colombia Sometimes, okay? Why I Hate Colombia Sometimes. I could already tell you why he hate Colombia sometimes is because Colombian bitches ain't going for this type of nigga, like, just pulling up, you know, like, talking about you need to serve me and this type of shit, you know what I mean? Like, most Colombian women that got a good head on their shoulders, which a lot of them do, and they don't get enough credit for, like, how well developed a lot of their society is, will laugh at this nigga, bro. Will literally laugh at this nigga.
Other super chat. She said, he says, white men are just easier for Colombians to game dollars. You know, I never thought about that, actually. I never thought about that. But that...
Crazy. I'm just like, wow, like, the more, like, it's all on bro's YouTube. Like, the more you look through bro's YouTube, the more, like, cringe moments you gonna find, like, where it's just...
That's one of the things that I said before. I looked up like, I don't even want to say nothing to this dude. I don't even want to say nothing because he's a weirdo. And I don't use that term all the time, but he's a real weirdo. When I seen the arrest record and the body cam footage of him doing the same shit he did overseas, I'm like, hey, man, there has to be a filter. So, like I said before, we have to... People thinking that it's going to make you trap. No, a lot of countries just want people to play by the rules again. All this illegal activity is going to still happen. And I'm going to show you that too. Where Floyd is the most stupidest person ever. And the dude, Visitor, or whatever his name is, he didn't talk about the shit that happened in Sao Paulo in November. The massive shootout, the raid that happened in Brazil. They're going after everybody they can because they want to take out the gangs in some of those areas. And they just took out 120 something people back in November. So we'll go to that.
It's like, bro, what's going on up in here, bro? What's going on? Like, what I don't like about Austin is the way he exploited women in Kenya. Now he's trying to clean up his image. Nah, man, I don't think you could put that on Austin necessarily. A lot of what's going on in Kenya has to do with Jay Rillo, which is another friend of this guy. From what I can see, Austin does a good job of like trying to promote the good sides of Kenya, bro. Black men.
Scott 1000 lasts 2 times long.
And this is the thing about black dudes, especially dudes, man. We seem to always try to like cover for the worst people, right? Even when we overseas, we still don't want to throw motherfuckers under the bus.
Longer. Get more with Scott.
Meet our TurboTax experts in person and let them do your taxes for you. Now this is taxes.
Black man's paradise, bro. A fucking black man's paradise, bro. You shitting me? You shitting me right now? It's a black man's paradise, man. You can't rank working girls. They're all paid. I don't think she's a working girl. I guarantee you probably met her off of like Tinder or some shit. I guarantee you met her off of like Tinder or some shit. College, school, studying for a bit. Lots of people say Pookies versus Passport Bros. Today is now Travelers versus Passport Bros. Yeah, man. Because, like, bro, I'm traveling all the time. Like, I travel all the time. So, and I love these places. Like, a lot of people love Brazil. I really think that she went to go with, bro. I'm not even joking.
Everybody's under review. If you were in Floyd's circle, if you're sending him money, because they're looking at the people that are sending the money, they're investigating folks that are sending him money, financing these trips and these travels. They're listing the Passport Bros as a criminal organization that are sex tourists who also participate in sexual exploitation of minors and rape. And because now Floyd is the poster child, he's
now you tell that the fact is they're just trying to make sure that the wrong people don't travel. This is not stopping any black man from traveling, but they're trying to pin a name on guys. This is not stopping certain guys from going overseas. It's just now you can't really associate with certain people no more. You got to keep to yourself. That's it.
the face of the Passport Bros for negativity in Brazil nationwide. We're gonna get into all the reports. It's bad. It's way worse than anybody could ever imagine. This motherfucker is filthier than Diddy.
In a single year, I became a widow, a first-time mom, and a new nurse. It was rough, but I decided to continue my education.
Anything like that is in it.
To answer Austin Holliman and hope he can watch this video because he follows me here. Yeah, he is my subscriber. Only to make a point and correct something that he said in his video today because he rushed to record videos to make content talking about the situation. And he said something that I have to correct, Austin. Okay. In his video, the title is Passport Bro in Brazil with 6 years old. Yeah. The title in his channel, this video, he is explaining the situation with his friend. Yes, because I noticed he has a lot of videos with this guy, unfortunately. And in the 5 minutes and 50 seconds, he said, Brazil don't have...
I've met guys in this space that had not today. Crime like this in another country for any crime, but especially crimes against children. Man, I would be shitting bricks if I were Floyd right now. Of course, he might not be able to shit anything because, well, you know how those prisons are in South America. Anyway, let's continue.
According to information from the Child and Adolescent Police Station, the American is accused of raping and sexually exploiting several children. In conducting their inspection of the hotel room where he was lodged, the police found a significant quantity of electronic equipment, including files containing child pornography. They also seized a variety of items such as pen drives, memory cards, a notebook, a computer, multiple cell phones, some stuffed animals, a watch with an embedded camera, and various other telephone devices. Stated that
Don't worry, Shaq. The General gives you a break, whether it's on your car insurance or a break from your car acting up.
That was a baby, like from what I understand.
And they'll say, hey, you And they'll say, hey, you are trespassing. So I am familiar with that, but yeah, I had no idea he had 13. I think most of those arrests are coming from that, though.
The smoking gun is the report saying that he used rideshare apps, Uber 99, to traffic victims remotely, so he wouldn't.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Keep your hand on the board. Put your hands in the air.
For somebody not to believe that, that tells me that they might be riding for the other side. They got the reports in the G1, and G1 is like the CNN of Brazil. They saying he got 13 arrests in the States. Did you know that?
I know he did the police audits. I know he was in jail. I was familiar with that part, but other than that.
Yup. He got arrested multiple times. Multiple fucking times. Some of them was about him just doing that creep shit. Even I can even say, oh, it's creep shit. You don't take no phone out and record motherfuckers without no permission. Especially in today's world where motherfuckers, girls are selling OnlyFans and all that shit. He was a fucking weirdo in America, and he brung that shit overseas. He just got more. He was able. This is a thing about it, right? If you can't get nothing over here, you can't get something over there. Because Floyd got something. He was a fucking weirdo. And I think that probably most of the women that had sex with him were nice, kind chicks who probably regret fucking them. That's why nobody sticked around. It's the same thing I think with Austin Holloman. They regret fucking him. They regret being around him because he can't even stick with nobody. I watched a couple of traveler dudes who can barely walk alone by themselves. There's always a girl sticking by them. And these are the quote-unquote guys who are losers. And as soon as they go overseas, they get married or something. And they disappear.
I didn't know it was like 13. But I know that YouTubers, do that. They do the little police outfit. They roll up on the police and say, hey, I'm not trespassing. And they'll say, hey, you are trespassing. So I am familiar with that. But yeah, I had no idea he had 13. I think most of those arrests are coming from that, though.
The smoking gun is the report saying that he used rideshare apps, Uber 99, to traffic victims remotely so he wouldn't be seen at the pickup spot. So basically, he was quarterbacking what was going on. So he knew he was doing something wrong. If you hide, then we know you're doing something wrong. So that lets us know, too. Because if you're standing on business, you don't need to hide. I never met the guy. I don't know anything about him. You know what I mean? If he's innocent, hopefully he can prove that. If he's not, man, he should get exactly what he deserves. They got other YouTubers running around like, the booty goon. All these people need to fry, man, because they make us all look bad. Like I say all the time, if a non-melanated person does something, he takes the hit. If a melanated person does something, we all take the hit. It's sad, man, but it is what it is.
Especially in like evil acts and concerns of, minors and anything like that, man. That's sickening.
What about the fallout in Brazil? Have you heard anything about what's happening in Brazil right now? You talked to Skylar, heard anybody out there?
No, I haven't talked to anything about I think this is all fresh, man. Like this is all recent. We're talking about hours ago.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Keep your hands on the board. Put your hands in the air.
Surrender.
You're being arrested for child exploitation.
And when you at, so-called a media war, people will throw as much dirt, especially people that, lean in one direction, feminists and stuff like that. And a lot of these publications are, ran by, of course, feminists. I don't get into the politics of it. And it's the thing, a lot of guys will try to criticize, certain creators like myself or other YouTubers and stuff like that.
Lung biopsy is getting a piece of tissue either via bronchoscopy or with percutaneous approach. So percutaneous approach, I mean guiding a needle from outside through your chest or through your back with CAT scan guidance.
The robot offers you the ability of complete dexterity, multiple angles of freedom.
Now, I knew this was going to happen a while ago from watching this cat's videos. If you're not familiar with Floyd Wallace, go back and look at some.
I don't know if this the dude that threatened, I I don't know. I think I stopped watching this dude. I think it was him or somebody else. It was somebody else. I think it was him that that said that they would still go to the clubs at like 60 years old and said it was good women in America, good black women in America, but somehow he isn't married. So I stopped watching this dude. If this the guy who threatened Austin on one of the live streams.
Of his videos, you'll get caught up. I have a quick story about him, and then I'm going to actually show you a following video shows footage related to the arrest and police operation. So check this out, and I'll meet you on the other side.
Children in Rio de Janeiro. His detention was at a downtown hotel. He described himself on social media profiles as a sex tourist. The text then includes a series of excerpts from.
And saying shit like that in public, let me tell you about America, how America handles shit. Let's be real. Trump is treating... The one thing I can respect about Trump is what he's doing to immigrants and people from overseas coming over here. These people do the same shit to us, but in a smaller quantity, right? A lot of countries don't want their dirt to go public. They don't want no other people to disrespect them. They'll do this to another country of people. Look, there was a girl that came from Japan or America, was trying to post the red light district and trying to expose all the men going to Thailand to have sex. They took her camera, destroyed the footage, and banned the fuck out of her. There was another girl, Australian girl, who tried to do that in some other country. They took her shit, broke it, and confiscated it, and then banned her from the country. So the funny thing about all of this is that there's a lot of females from overseas, from the UK, America, that's banned from some of these countries. You just don't hear it because, well, they don't talk about women in America and the bad shit they do. They're banned. If you're banned from a whole entire country, something wrong with you, right? So there's a lot of shit that goes on out there, right? A lot of countries don't want you to do the bad shit that their citizens are used to in front of in all of the world. They have a reputation to hold. You think that North Korea would allow somebody to see the stuff they do, and you think they'll let you live? No, they're gonna get you out of here. So it's the same shit with Floyd. Floyd did some weird shit that is a no-no in Brazil. Now, you asking that question, oh, it's a no-no in Brazil. No, they don't fuck with kids. The motherfuckers who do that, there was a guy who got killed in Brazil. They found him, and they chopped him up in pieces. A guy who did something to probably a 5-year-old girl. They killed him. They beat the shit out of him. He was screaming and yelling. And they found his head on a tree and his body parts on the floor. So they don't play with that. But as far as the teen relationships with adults, yeah, it is susceptible. It's susceptible over there. There's all these relationships. You 34, 54. You could date young over there. You could date 15, 16. You can. Is it right? No. But in most of those countries, even in some of the Asian countries, Latin countries, it's there. It's still a thing. Because the thing is, the men are not repressed over in those countries. They're not. That's why they have brothels. That's why the sexual thing, the sexual expression is on both sides. It's not on women. Over here in America, the women are more sexually expressive than the men are. Men have to do a whole bunch of shit, but then you see some of the guys all over the world, they don't have to do all this extra shit, go to the gym and run in place and do all this extra shit just for some sex. And their women look 10 times better, right?
As soon as they entered the room, the American, identified as Floyd Wallace Jr., 29, was arrested in the Liberdade neighborhood in downtown Sao Paulo. Today, we eat and game. The section of the hotel room where he was lodged requested a ride and was where he posts videos of himself resisting police approaches and being arrested in various states of his native country, Porpovan. The foreigner has a criminal record in more than 3 U.S. states for crimes such as resisting arrest, disorderly conduct, and assaulting a police officer. The combined sentences could reach 34 years.
Do you have a car? And do you have a clean driving record? Did you know you could pay...
that AI, man, that AI was stripping.
Shamin is in front of the federal police.
Also, we're going to meet this man. They said they didn't have much information about him. To count the number of victims.
Follow the guy. Your time. Did not know it went this serious. This is another reason why I did not attach my name to the whole passport bro thing. Go.
Civil police and also the Rio de Janeiro Civil Police, William, is to count the number of victims and also listen to these families, and also we will continue to follow up, William.
Thank you very much for the information. Key role, isn't it, when police forces collaborate? That has been very effective, right?
So there you go. I mean, I've been watching this cat crash out, as the kids say, for some period of time. Did not know it went this serious. This is another reason why I did not attach my name to the whole passport bro thing. Go back and watch my video. I'm not a passport bro. I'm a bro with a passport. There's a difference. Again, I ain't joining no groups. Be careful what groups you join. You want it sounds cool at the time, and next thing you know, the leader done something criminal. Anyway, you're up to date with the latest news, this time out of Sao Paulo, Brazil. Thank you guys for watching. Remember,
Al Jazeera Podcasts.
Side by side, without clothes, so everybody could see the marks.
Yes, they didn't get DACA, and they did.
Tell me about this group and how they've evolved and strengthened over the years.
So the Red Command was born in the 70s, and they keep growing since then. At that time, they were just based in a few favelas in Rio, but they kept growing around Rio, and today you can see Red Command around Latin America. And this kind of expansion, it's because we don't have policies that can look at the drug dealers and the war on drugs. War.
So this is the incident that happened in Sao Paulo, and it's probably around, I think even Floyd was probably there. Then that's happened, right? Because he thought that, I don't know, he's mentally off. And some of the people that's in Brazil, the black content creators, they didn't talk about that because maybe they know some of the gang members in here for protection, right? And that's a that's a thing. Let me tell you what's going on in all these other countries, right? The pay-for-play system is up there. You have to pay a toll to have protection around that area. You will not be fucked with by the cops or by anybody in that area as long as you stay in that area, right? You go to the brothels, you do that, you won't be scoping me. You just got to pay a fee. So the thing is, the people who who died overseas, who got scoped, they never paid the toll. You know how guys have to go check in America with the gangs so nothing happens to them? You have to do that overseas sometimes. Or you have to be a very smart traveler and watch your P's and Q's and know who to talk to and who not to talk to, right? But most people have that. There's porn stars, active porn star, male porn stars who go to Brazil back and forth and shoot content over there. They didn't get scopamine. They're not getting sucked up in sex tourism. They still go over there. Then let's not trip that there's women going over for sex tourism. The most unattractive women possible. They're going over there for sex tourism and then coming back here pretending they're good girls. Right? And then the guys like Super Sly telling you, oh, they're good women out here. Right? So these gangs control certain areas. And if you're in those areas and you pay these guys, you don't have no issue at all. But what I'm guessing Floyd did was Floyd was approached by somebody. He's going to snitch or he's going to get killed. I don't think he's going to come out this alive. I don't think he's going to... Somebody put him up to this because he's too fucking dumb-brained to do it. He just did it because it made him money. You saw the money when they... Nobody talks about how much money he had in the Brazilian. He had a stack of money. He's a loser. He has no job over there. So somebody approached him because he was stupid as shit doing that shit, right? Whoever was with him, they're going to get arrested too. Passport Bro is not a criminal organization because if it was a criminal organization has more than 10 people in it, right? Most content creator, black content traveling channels, they don't even crack 10,000 on their videos. So you're going to try to stamp labels on black men traveling, and you're going to end up with a case. A big international case. The Colombians, they were sending people back because they were seeing what on these dudes' phone. And they knew that these dudes were drama starters. Like I said, no country want a guy to go over their country and make it look bad. And make the women look bad. Because then you attract the wrong people like Floyd.
Drugs as a complex subject. They think like it's just a small group in a small city and we can just erase them. And we can see that they cannot.
Right. Well, let's talk about the victims of this police raid. At least 120 people died in the operation, 4 of whom were police officers. But favela residents and the public defender's office are saying that these numbers could actually be much, much higher. Now, we saw some of the grim pictures that have come out of corpses that were lined up on the street in the favela, and it looked like a war zone. What do we know about the people who died during this operation, and were they all members of the Red Command?
That's the thing, that we don't know all the names. We don't have all the names. Who are these people?
So I talked about this when none of the guys who were supposed to be traveling, or some people, they probably did. If Floyd was working with somebody, he was probably working with somebody else who was either paying one of these gangs to operate in that area, or it was some independent dudes who was doing it outside of Sao Paulo, and they were doing it somewhere else. Because they said the 2 girls was driving to meet him. So he was shooting content, that disgusting content, for people all over the world. And they would cut him in on the money. So that sound about right. I'm not going to put it past Floyd. Floyd had the same arrogance that Austin Holloman had. I seen how he acted over in Dominican Republic, and I'm like, why is this guy still alive? Why nobody just checking this dude? Why nobody beating the shit out of this guy? And I'm happy that he's in jail, and I hope he stays there. If he doesn't, he's gonna be, I don't know. But I'm happy that he's in jail. I'm not protecting this fucking idiot. And I'm not protecting this sick piece of shit. I'm happy that he's in jail. I'm happy. They're gonna stick him. They're gonna stick him. They're gonna destroy him, man. The best thing he can do is imagine himself in some other place before they cut off his head and stab him a couple times. Just like that YouTuber Vitaly. Remember him. Vitaly, he went over there, thought it was a game, and guess what? Now he's in, I think the Philippines? He locked up. He locked up. He's done. Johnny Somalia, he's dealing with the stuff in Korea. He can't leave. This shit this been a history thing for the longest. It's not just passport, bro. They're actually protesting in other countries about more Americans traveling to their country because their country is the bullshit spending habits that Americans have been that they
battery level is 30%.
They're used to here in America. They're starting to do that overseas, and people are tired of them. Let me show you.
People recovered bodies left behind after the raid and laid them out in a public square to be taken to the morgue.
Protests against foreigners.
En 5 años las rentas han subido 47%. Eso es algo violento para la población local.
Residents of Mexico City have been protesting against gentrification, some of them saying an influx of U.S. citizens is to blame.
Nosotros nos estamos debatiendo entre pagar la luz, pagar el agua o comer.
More than 1.6 million U.S. citizens reside.
And look at what they're doing. They want to blame Trump. But the fact is, they are acting the same shit. They act in the same way as Americans, as Trump. They don't want more Americans coming to their country. This ain't the only one. There was protests that were happening in 2023 and 2020, and they were saying how they didn't like some of these Americans coming over there disrespecting their culture. It wasn't just passport, bro. This was females. So I'm gonna tell you this now. If passport bros can't, if certain black men can't travel, the shit that's gonna come out for the women is gonna be astronomical. And then I want to see these people make videos on it because they're not making videos now against passport sisters.
In Mexico, according to the U.S. State Department, the high cost of living in the U.S. is said to be the catalyst that's pushed roughly 11,000 Americans to migrate to Mexico just last year. Protesters are also upset with the government for policies.
Just last year, that was under Biden. Where's all the people acting like this is Trump's fault? This was under Biden, 2024 and 2023.
That they say favor wealthier newcomers without considering the communities that have lived in the area.
Principalmente si van a venir a vivir a un país, tienen que contribuir a ese país, ¿no? La primera y la cuestión más sencilla es la migración legal.
En 5 años las rentas han subido 47%. Eso es algo violento para la población local.
Residents of Mexico City have been protesting against gentrification.
File your taxes 100% free in the app if you didn't file with us last year. Just file with TurboTax Do-It-Yourself by February 28th.
Hundreds of South Africans took to the streets in the city of Durban demanding the deportation of undocumented migrants and tougher action against drug trafficking and police corruption.
But Trump is wrong. But every other country is wanting migrants out of their country because the migrants and the immigrants are doing stuff to their country. I can show you more.
This is our country! You should be here standing with us!
Japan is bracing for a key political moment this weekend as the ruling Liberal Democratic
It's happening everywhere. This shit started in 2023 when people was leaving under the Biden administration. There was people that was leaving because of the Biden administration was censoring people. And that came out in 2025 about them censoring people on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So it's kind of weird that you think that somehow, some way, one dude is going to stop all the black men traveling. Now, mind you, there's a small subsection of black men that are traveling. Small. So you could tell how bad it is for some of these women over here if they have to come to funding and use their little attack dogs to plant a guy like Floyd. In the Passport Bro movement, create all this bullshit, create a person like Austin Holloman and give him power, and J. Rollo, and then magically Passport Bros are now magically considered some rapists. You know, they're the ones who, you know, they're doing this to kids' minds. They're doing this, guys. They're doing this, man. Yo, they're evil. They're evil, guys. They're evil. Isn't it funny that they needed a main character to produce what they've been saying about us for years? Because technically, I will be a passport person holder. But I'm not doing anything half cock, and I'm not doing that. I'm not leaving nowhere without no type of money, no plan. I'm a guy who plans shit out. I'm not gonna sit here and be no Floyd. I'm not being no Austin Holloman. I'm not none of that shit, man. So this is going to affect me as well. But the difference is I'm moving silence, and the fact is, we got to see what's going to happen. Now I got to predict, but let me make another one.